You're listening to the Move Girl podcast. I'm your host, Ariana Janae. On today's episode, we have a very special guest. We have actress, singer, influencer, and one of my BFFs, Alessandra Demartino. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Alex, so much for being my first ever guest on the Move Girl podcast and the Move Girl YouTube channel.
I literally am so excited. Like when you asked me, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, sure.
Because this is literally what we talk about, like on our normal day-to-day, going to hot and juicy crawfish.
Yes, girl, our hot and juicy dates.
What a petite.
Look at the strap. Ew.
I miss when the world was open.
I know, and we could like suck shrimp out of a bag.
First, let me say congratulations on your Maxim cover.
Oh, thank you.
Like, you better get it. On your social media a lot lately, you have been preaching about self-love and confidence. And I mean, you've always done that. You've always been like really empowering to women. But especially lately, you have been like really, really vocal and open about your own journey. So I want to ask you about some of the things on your own self-love journey. So when was that moment that you were like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta love myself more?
So my whole life, I've been a people pleaser. I was like the first kid in our family, so I kind of had this like learned behavior of like, I was a straight A student, like I just like to people please, and it's a habit I usually fall back into. Like if someone didn't like me as a kid, I would like go out of my way to like make sure they liked me, and that's like that can be a good thing, but that's also a very toxic trait because you're like kind of just seeking validation from everybody. So when I realized I needed to work on myself love and needed to love myself more was when people or relationships or friendships are starting to like drain my energy. Recently, it was that I noticed I was giving too much of myself to another person as opposed to what I needed. So it's almost like when you're on an airplane and they have like the oxygen masks, you got to put yours on first before you can put the other person's on. And I tend to, in my past, have usually, tried to caretake for another person as opposed to caretaking for myself. So recently it was learning that I was giving too much to another person.
Honestly, when you said people pleasing, that like stood out to be a lot because I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of people do, that they don't realize that's a lack of self-love. Because when people like want to please others and they're like looking for validation from other people instead of themselves, like I used to do that. literally. I mean, I was talking about a couple episodes back about how I was going through like the beginning phases of my self-love journey, and you were the one to be like, girl, like talk to this girl, like she's gonna help you and all that.
Oh, yeah.
What was the first thing that you did when you started to love yourself more?
So what I've noticed is the first thing that really made a positive change was honoring my boundaries, making boundaries for myself, because I didn't even have boundaries. I didn't even know what boundaries were. In my mind, having boundaries was like a negative thing. It was like kind of, I don't know, some people, they think it's rude to have boundaries. And as I grew up, I realized, no, hey, like my opinions matter. Like what I want matters. If I'm feeling depleted, I don't have to go to this event. Even though people are forcing me to, I don't have to. Like there's so many times now where if I'm not feeling myself or if I'm not feeling good, like I just need to honor, like I'll check in with myself and I'll say, okay, what do you want? Let's not worry about what everybody else wants. What do you want? So I think that is a big thing too. And I used to like not trust my judgment or my intuition. And so many times in life, my intuition has not steered me wrong. And I tend to like to make excuses for people and stuff like that, but your gut knows. So trust your judgment because your judgment always knows. And I think those changes have really helped.
That Scorpio intuition, girl.
Girl, it don't lie. It's like,
at all. Like, it's crazy how even our bodies respond to certain situations, and sometimes we're just like, oh no, I'm just a little gassy today. That's what it is. But it's really your gut being like, get away from this person.
Your gut's like screaming at you, like, this is not it, and you're like, shh, it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, your gut freaking knows. It knows. So trust your gut, ladies.
Screaming, get away!
So many times. And then other people are like, no, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, but your gut is screaming at you. So maybe you should listen to it, you know?
So what is something that kind of makes you feel your best? Like on the days, because, you know, sometimes those days happen where you're going through the self-love journey and you'll have those powerful moments where you just feel good and you're feeling yourself. But like, there's always that fallback into like, where you have to remind yourself to feel good about yourself. What is something you do to remind yourself?
Well, honestly, because I'm a big believer in like law of attraction. If things aren't going my way or like people aren't responding in a way that I want, I tend to pull this new thing I do. I pull all the love that I'm giving other people into myself. And it works 9 times out of 10. If I pull all the energy that I'm giving to like other people, other things, if I just pull it back and just put it in here and focus on me, like things just work out. So, I mean, the things I like to do when I'm not, wine is number one. Wine. Can we talk about that? Wine. I tend to do my makeup just for fun because I like to like feel myself. I love nature. I love going on hikes. I'll walk on the beach. I'll feel if my energy is drained for some reason, going in nature, the beach replenishes everything. A good Disney movie. And this is a thing I like to do. My favorite thing to do in Los Angeles is walk the streets with my goddess. I have a goddess energy playlist. It's like all bad bitch anthems.
Ooh,
it's called Goddess Energy.
I'm gonna find this playlist.
I'll send it to you. It's a fun playlist, but I'll put it in my ears and I'll like put on like cute outfit and just walk to Starbucks, get a coffee, walk with my coffee. Like, I don't know. It just, cause it reminds me when I used to live in New York, I used to do that. I used to like walk the streets in New York like it was my street. And it was just, I don't know. It makes me feel good.
Yes. Now, New York was a big moment for you as well. That was another self-love moment. Can you tell me a little bit about what went down in New York?
Well, so I trust my intuition now. And for some reason, so I had a really bad breakup. This was last year. Oh my God, that was last year. And part of me was just shut down. I was like, I don't want to be in LA anymore. I don't want to be an actor anymore. I don't want to do this. So my gut was telling me, move back home, but don't move back home. So what I did was I took the money that I made from another TV show and I used it on a sublet in New York City. I lived in Harlem, which I love Harlem. I never felt safer because everybody's like, oh, living in the city. Harlem never felt safer. I loved my neighborhood. And there were so many days where I just like, I had a job, but like I got out of entertainment for a little bit, but I would just walk the streets and just remember being so confused, but also not being confused because my gut was like, you are meant to be here. You are meant to be here. And sure enough, I asked the universe, I said, can you give me a sign as to what I'm supposed to do with my life? And as I was walking home in Harlem, I accidentally stumbled upon a Steven Spielberg set and they were filming West Side Story and I met Spielberg and then ended up in the movie. So to say like trust your gut, your intuition, if your intuition's screaming at you, even if it doesn't make sense, like it didn't make sense for me to pick up all my stuff and move to New York for like a little bit and then move back to LA, but I had to be there and it put me in the movie and then it got me back in my acting track, which the universe was like, you're meant to do this, just take a rest. So that was a really serendipitous time. That was weird.
Right. And it's crazy because like once you take that leap of faith and you just let go, they say let go, let God, and you ask the universe, what am I supposed to do? Once you listen, like
things unfold.
And you know, it's so crazy because we like years, maybe it was like 2 years before that we were talking about that movie.
Yes.
And then
and I said I want to be in that movie. I said I'm going to make it in that movie. And then I was in it. It was bizarre. It was like I have chills talking about it. It was the weirdest thing that has ever happened to me.
Wild.
Because it wasn't even like I was literally walking home the same way I go to my sublet every day. And it was like Spielberg was there. Like it was, I can't even. Like, hello, Steve.
Tell me the story of when you saw him on the set.
Oh my God. Well, okay. So I'm a little bit, I think I called you after this.
You did.
I'm a little bit ballsy because, well, first of all, it was so hot because like you're in the city and it's like hot like it is in LA, but it's like everything's sandwiched together and it's, oh my God. So I'm walking home. I have like these huge glasses on. I think I still have the picture somewhere. I think I might have archived it because it was just like, I have these huge glasses. You can see my beet red face. I'm like drenched in sweat. And I see a man in a Hawaiian shirt and it's Steven Spielberg, and he's like really close to me, and they're watching playback in the tent. So I was like, I'm gonna go for it, like whatever. So I like walk up, and like Steven Spielberg is literally right here, and the man was like, "Excuse me, you can't take any pictures." And I was like, I am like 2 feet away from Steven Spielberg. If you don't think I'm trying to sneak a little pic, you are seriously disturbed. So I said, thank you, next. So, and Spielberg turned around and he was like, do you want a picture? I was like, yes. Do I want a picture? I'm saying my good side. I wish I did that. No, I'm sweating. And if you see the picture, maybe you can insert it somewhere. It's so embarrassing. We both have the same facial expression. I'm like,
that takes a lot of confidence to just like kind of command the room. Like you walked in there and were like, I belong. So like, what advice do you have for other people that kind of want to get more confidence or just kind of at least believe in themselves a little more?
I just talked about this in my YouTube channel. I am a firm believer in faking it till you make it. Because honestly, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't think anybody is 100% confident all the time. Even if you are Steven Spielberg, I think you have situations or people or anything that make you feel like, okay, like I need to do better or like whatever, or be better, I guess. And for me, all the times, I mean, I spoke to Kevin Bacon at a party, but all those times I literally I was screaming inside, but I didn't show it on the outside. I was just like, I'm going to fake it. I'm going to be, because I'm an actor, right? So I was like, I'm going to create a character that I want to be right now, who is confident, sassy, witty. And then I just play her. And it's like, that's what works for me. But also rocking what you got also is a big one for me. Like I am a short, curvy Latina Italian. That is just what I am. I'm never going to be the tall, blonde, blue-eyed model. That's just not me. And I think the reason I was able to do Maxim and stuff like that, even after having an eating disorder, is that I was like, look, this is what I am. I'm happy. I need to rock this, because if I don't rock this, nobody else is, because nobody else is me. So I'm empowered by that I feel like that's your superpower. Like even if you're not like the best at this, you're the best at this, and nobody else is the best at this because nobody else is you. So that works for me anyway. I don't know. Maybe that'll help somebody.
Works for you, because look at you. And you said something that kind of like reminded me of something that I kind of have gone through a lot, and I know a lot of people do, where instead of embracing themselves and everything that makes them unique, they focus on the things that they don't have, or focus on the things that they're not. Like even Demi Lovato has that song called I Love Me, and she was talking about how she's always comparing herself to everyone else, and she's an expert at beating up on herself, and she's always thinking about the things that she's not. And it finally took her the moment to really love herself, to kind of like be empowered by who he is.
I relate to that song so much. It's like, what is it? I'm an expert at giving love to somebody else. Bro, that hit hard so many times. But honestly, it's true. It's like, nobody's going to love you like you love you. You're stuck with you. So like
every single day,
I wake up and I see this girl in the mirror and I'm like, I can either hate on you or I can be your best friend. So I choose to be your best friend, you know?
Right. Like, what's better than being your own BFF? You never get lonely.
Hey, girl. Hey, you want to go get some coffee today? Yeah.
Bon appetit. But speaking of that song, and like there's so many like quotable, I guess, lyrics from that song. What are some of your favorite quotes that kind of empower you?
Well, I got it tattooed on my arm. Everybody's asking what this is. So I'm an English major, and I'm a big fan of Shakespeare. And my favorite quote is from Hamlet. And it's called it reads, "This above all, to thine own self be true." And the reason I have it tattooed on my arm is a reminder, because the way I read that is, so many times in my life, if I wasn't feeling satisfied with a job, a relationship, an outcome of a situation, I would ask other people. Mm-hmm. And other people would dictate how I felt about it, because I was like, oh, well, if this person's saying it's okay, then it's okay. But what I've had to learn in life is, like, I had just had a conversation with a friend about this yesterday. I was like, I don't care what other people say. Does this work for you? Is this acceptable to you in a relationship? Is this what you want out of a relationship? It doesn't matter what your neighbor wants out of a relationship. What works for you? Because what works for Joe down the street is not necessarily what's going to feed your heart. And I think that's why I have that tattooed, because it's like, I need to listen to my inner voice. So many times people are like, oh, you didn't give this enough time, or you gave up on this. No, mm-hmm. I didn't. Like, I left a huge management company way back when I started in this business, and it was because it wasn't working for me. And I also have another friend who did the same thing. Like, it doesn't matter, because if it's not acceptable to you and you don't want to be treated a certain way or whatever, mm-hmm. you don't have to be. But that's why I love this quote. And I also love the cliche quote that's like, a lion does not lose sleep over the opinion of sheep, because I honestly really resonate with that, because I feel like a lot of people, especially when I was in college, like, didn't understand what I did, and it didn't make sense to them. And they always had, oh, she's making YouTube videos in her bedroom, like, she's, spending her weekends like rehearsing for this musical, like, weird stuff. But you know what I mean? And even like haters, like when people say me, like, oh, girl, I used to get like so upset when people had like a bad image of me, and I would go out of my way. I want to like change their image of me so bad. But then I'm like, honestly, they're sheep. Who are they? People on the street. Like, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't win them all. You can't win them all. So it's like, that's why I like that quote, because it's like, a lion is literally too busy sleeping and killing things to even like recognize what's going on.
Right. Mm-hmm. I love that.
And that's how I like to live my life. I'm just glide on by. Like, unless I'm hurting someone, or like, then I care. But it's like, if people are just like offended or mad about something I do and I'm not hurting anybody, like, why is that bothering you? But like, right, what can I do about that? Nothing.
Exactly. I love that so much, because that's another thing about like people pleasing, is that mm-hmm. instead of focusing on like how you feel about yourself and how you look at yourself, and focusing on what other people look at you, is kind of like wanting to please them. Like, if you're so focused on what their opinions are and like what they're saying about you, and you want to like change to make them think a certain way, then that's literally like people pleasing. You're pleasing them instead of actually taking the time to like be to yourself.
It's tiring. Mm-hmm. People please, because you can't be everyone's flavor. If you're everyone's flavor, you're doing something wrong.
What's this little saying? The quote: "Not everybody likes peaches."
Oh yeah, you can be the juiciest, ripest peach, but not everyone's gonna like peaches. Mm-hmm. That's so true.
I want a juicy peach.
I'm like a pineapple.
Ooh. Bon appetit. A little tropical. Tropical
set.
Girl. Okay, so we have 2 more questions that I'm going to ask you, and they kind of go together. So the first is, what is the biggest piece of advice that you would tell your younger self?
Oh. Okay, this is some deep shit. You matter, Like, my biggest piece of advice to my younger self is, hey, sis, you don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to earn love. You don't need to beg for love, because the right people are going to love you no matter what you do. And the wrong people are always going to find a reason to leave or to just put you down. So like, you never have to beg for love. Ever, 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 ever. No begging, no earning, no proving. None. That's what I would tell my younger self. I'd sit her ass down and I'd be like, here, if she was of age, I'd give her a glass of wine and I'd be like, all right, let's talk, sis. That's what
From mocktail.
Like, it's a little mocktail. We know how we like.
Say that one more time. You said no begging. No proof.
No begging, no proving, no earning for love. None.
Girl,
Because the right people, and it took me a long time to learn that, because I always thought, like, because you see movies, and I blame the media, honestly, movies and songs and stuff, like talking about how you have to like just like give up yourself, which I'm not saying you don't have to do in relationships, but I'm saying like it's just so ingrained in our nature, and it's kind of like, wait, hold on, this is like not like I was listening, I love this one song, it's called Blood Sweat Tears by Ava Max. Love it. It's a bop. If you don't know it, it's a bop. But the whole song is like, I'm gonna give you all my blood sweat tears, I'm gonna die for you. And I get it, it's like romantic, poetic, but at the end of the day, it's like, girl, like if you have to do all of that, like why don't you just be single for a little bit?
Right. Blood, sweat, and tears.
I said there's blood involved. Okay, let's get out.
What kind of blood is that? Better not be my blood.
Whose blood? First of all, questions. Whose blood? Whose sweat?
These better not be my tears, because I'm tired. I'm tired.
Yeah, so there's so many songs I love, but I'm like, the messages, even Disney movies, I'm like, some of these messages are whacked, but like the media. But yeah, that's what I'd say to all girls out there, do not beg, do not plead, do not earn, do not prove, because you have nothing to prove to the right people.
And the final question, I know you said that that'll be your advice for your younger self and also to all girls out there, but do you have any other advice for girls that either look up to you and see you stepping into your own power, or girls that like haven't even thought about becoming their best selves or becoming their confident selves? Do you have any piece of advice for them?
There's strength in femininity. I had this talk with somebody the other day. I always felt like at odds with myself as a woman, because I always, as a kid, was like, oh, femininity equates to weakness, which is so not true. Being a woman's awesome. But I had that like ingrained in my head, just because I felt like as a little girl, you're like treated differently than the little boys. Yeah. And it kind of like got to me, because I kind of identify with more of a masculine energy. I'm a woman through and through, very feminine, but I have like a little bit of like a masculine edge to me. And like, yeah, so my advice would be, find strength in your femininity. Do whatever makes you feel feminine, but also strong. For me, it's exercising, but also like do things that make you feel good. Like take a bubble bath, exfoliate, put like, I don't know, some bath bombs, some oils, some salts, do anything that makes you feel, you know what I'm talking about, girl. Look at you. You're just like, yes.
Great.
That'd be my advice. But also, because again, with the body image thing, I'm very passionate about like eating disorder stuff, because I think for women, it's such a topic to be like the perfect woman, and the perfect woman doesn't exist. I mean, if you see statues of Aphrodite, she got stomach rolls and she's the goddess of love and beauty. So like, let's all chill. Being a woman's wonderful. Having extra like meat where we should is wonderful, because we carry freaking babies. Like, you know, that's freaking cool. We're the only thing that can bring other life into the world. So my advice would be, treat your body right, exercise, eat healthy, but also if you want some chocolate, eat some damn chocolate, because then you're going to binge and then it's just going to be awful. So my advice would just be that, do things that make you feel good, do things that make you healthy, but also learn to just like love what you got. And it's a process. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Girl, I cried in the mirror the other day, but like, I'm just saying, everybody does it. I'm sure like the Victoria's Secret models do it. Like everybody does it, but just, you know, try to be your best self and always evolve. Always, always, always. Because always, self-discovery is wonderful. Like always find out things about yourself, meditate, do things that make you feel good. If it's writing or riding a horse or I don't know, making YouTube videos, do it. Like, you know, I don't know. That'd be my advice for girls everywhere. Just do what makes you feel good, because there's enough things in this world that are out there to make us feel bad. And another thing, you feel better when you see that pretty girl, like that you kind of feel jealous of, compliment her, or like be her friend. Like, why are we so trying to hate on each other? Like, you know what I mean? Like, women, we gotta stick together, because freaking patriarchal world's already trying to take us down. So like, let's take down the patriarchy. We can't do it while we're all hating each other. So like,
right. Thank you so much for being the first ever guest on the Move Girl podcast. Can you tell everyone where to find you?
Okay. So Alessandra.Demartino is my Instagram. I just did Maxim, so that's fun. And you can catch me in Blood Queens. I play Chastity. And my YouTube, Alex Demar. Catch me there.
Thank you so much for this. Was so great. Like, we're gonna have a lot more talks like this.
Love you.
Love
Thank you. Bye.